con. May I introduce my co-host, KP.
Does anybody know who we are?
I know.
Furry.
No.
Okay,
Right,
most people, good. That's a really good thing.
Low expectations.
Low expectations. So both of us actually have chaired. We've been chairman of furry conventions. Alcala, you want to talk about your conventions real quick, and I'll talk about mine, and then we'll go over some what we call ground rules. Okay.
So basically, we're giving you our credentials now. I have survived 20 years of furry.
Oh, God.
I get a chit for doing that. I am the con chairman, was the con chairman until this year of Fursuit. I've served on the board of directors for multiple cons, IFC, there's a lot of cons out there, and we all kind of help each other. KP, now you've been doing it on another coastline than me.
A little bit. So I am one of the founders of the Florida Furry Convention Megaplex.
Woo!
I have been on the board of directors for AnthroCon since 2004, and I serve as a media representative for Texas Furry Fiesta. And here I am helping to implement a brand new group this year, the accessibility team for those that have need for ASL interpreters, if you're visually impaired, if you have any kind of mobility issue, or if maybe things are getting a little too overwhelming and you need to go to a quiet space. We've actually implemented a quiet room. We're trying new things to help make every person's experience the best that it can be.
You implemented the quiet room?
No.
How close am I allowed to get to that room?
You are not allowed to be in the
Okay.
same. You are not allowed to be in the same zip code as the quiet.
Thanks.
Alkali is known for being a little bit vocal and boisterous.
That's what I do.
That's what he does. But so between us, we have some experience in how furry conventions run and why we do the things we do. And furry conventions are very different from lots of other conventions. Not only do we have fursuits and does it look different, we operate differently. We have different structures.
We like you guys.
We do. And so
We don't just see you as giant bags of money. Isn't it nice?
So we're going to go over some of the things that make furry conventions different. But before we do, I would like to actually do something that we did at Megaplex this year. And
I almost remember that.
I would like to do that. Do we have any parents that are bringing their child here for the very first time? Is there a child? Whose child?
Is there a child?
So, of the youngsters in this room, who would like to come up and actually describe their persona? Is there anybody is a youngster who would like to describe their persona to people?
Why don't you start them off? Describe your persona.
Okay, my persona is a kind of a mix between a golden retriever and a yellow lab. His name is KP. He is the all-American kid next door. And that's the way I describe him. He is everything that I was not as a boy. He is popular. He's cute. Everybody likes to be around him. He likes to explore the world. He does not like to look at things and just say, oh, whatever. He is the kind of character that does not see a glass as either half empty or half full. He wonders why there's not lemonade or soda pop inside. He looks at the world through new eyes. Young lady, could you come up for just a moment?
Only if you want.
If you want to.
If
You are going to help demonstrate something very special. What is your name? Your furry name. What is your name? It is Flute Angel. Is that correct?
Okay, so cute.
Can you describe your character? What is it? Is it a
Face
wolf?
down.
K9.
Canine. Yeah.
Face
Look at you guys.
Oh, hey, we
This
have
is gonna be
microphones.
really simple, so you don't have to be rude.
Oh, it's actually working.
Can you tell me about your character? What is it? A girl? Like, is she a girl or is it a boy?
It's a girl.
It's a girl. What does your character like to do? Does it make friends? Does it have any hobbies?
Or does it not know yet?
I don't really know yet.
Don't
That's
really know
good.
yet. Okay,
That's good. That's
actually
a good answer.
That's actually good. If you had to describe the personality in 2 words, the 2 things that you think make your character stand out more than anything else in the whole world, what is it?
To be honest, I don't really know.
You don't really know? So that's fine. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about it, and then you can sit down. So,
And then you can...
because I can tell you're a little...
You are the most polite, threatening person I have ever met. Once you do all this, and we'll let you go to your seat.
Okay. Would you say that your character likes to play?
A little bit? Does it maybe like to dance? Maybe?
Does it like to try to have fun? Does she like to have fun?
She likes to have fun. That's a key.
Do you think your character would easily make friends? Don't know yet? That's fine.
Is Mom, can I say something?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
She's a little bit shy about this, but...
Mom, why don't you come on up here too? Please. Because again, this actually demonstrates a point about the furry family.
So one of the things that I've noticed that she truly enjoys is the attention she gets from children.
Yes.
They come up, they gather around her, she lets them take their pictures. She's just very sweet with the young children. We went to Kalahari. That was the best time for her. She had her fursuiting on. She did fursuiting around Kalahari, and just crowds of children
Awesome.
around her. So she really enjoys that.
So would you say, based on what your mom said, would one word that you use to describe your character, would it be sweet?
Maybe.
Okay, that's good. Oh, Mom, go ahead and y'all can go ahead and have a seat.
Guys, can we get a round of applause for our two guys?
Yes, thank you, Fruit Angel.
Thank you, Angel Mom.
Thank you, Mom. I have actually done this with several groups. I've had children come up from between the ages of 11 and 15. And the commonality is when a young person in particular, is asked to describe their persona, they will talk about the animal, they will talk about the colors that the animal has, what color the eyes are, the hair. If they're a little more vocal, they will describe their characters as playful. They are curious, they're interesting, they want to have fun. One little girl said, oh, one special thing, my character likes to eat chocolate. She's a fan of chocolate. But what's just as interesting about these descriptions is not what the youngsters say, it's what they do not say. I have never heard a youngster say anything that indicated their character knew hatred. Their characters do not know racism. Their characters do not know bigotry. Their characters do not know anything that is considered negative. They always describe them positively. That is something unique, because when a youngster looks at the world and creates a character, they are creating a character based on the way they want the world to be. This is the world as they see it or as they want it to be. These characters are pure. They're virtually innocent. Why is it that the rest of the world can't be that way? When we create our characters, we create worlds in which their lives are ideal. What I have found is that when I created Cuddle Pup, now known as KP, I was very shy. I could not get up in front of a room and talk to people. Now I don't have that fear anymore. I am outgoing. I have friends. I'm not afraid to dance and look silly. The things about my character that I wanted more than anything have come true. We have the ability as furries to create characters and create worlds that actually change ourselves and change the people around us. That is what makes us special, and it is something I hope none of you ever lose. So before we get started, I wanted to share that with you, and I hope you realize you are part of a group of creative individuals that have the power to shape people's lives for the better. So give yourselves a round of applause for what you are capable of doing. Now that we've gotten the emotional stuff out of the way.
And let's do the bad stuff really fast.
Yes.
Really quick, everyone. A few things that everyone needs to know. You are in Chicago. Number one, the drinking age is 21. You should have known that. Number two, it is not legal to smoke cannabis until January 1st. Everything smells like weed here. Cut it out if that's you.
Yeah.
The reason we tell you guys this is very simple. It is really a shame to say it this way, but at the end of the day, running these conventions has to be some kind of a business. Why? Because we need to come back next year. And never forget.
And I was going to say, none of you want to take rides in the shiny, flashy Ravemobiles.
Oh.
You don't want a shiny, flashy Ravemobile taxi ride. And that comes in two varieties. It comes in the medical variety and the legal variety. You don't want to be in part of either.
Yeah.
But we'll go over some of the flashy Wraithmobile stuff a little later in the talk.
We will, but once again, we just want to bring that out early. It sucks to talk about, however, this is very important to the convention itself. We want to have a convention next year, and that is not determined by the people running the convention. They've done their work. At this point, it is determined by the wonderful attendees here. MFF has never had a problem. Most conventions do not. We just want to keep it that way. So please remember, if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, go outside!
All right, so what makes furry cons special? What is different about the way we operate? You probably noticed, one, we tend to push fursuiters and other special people to the front of lines. Why do we do this? It is not because they are popular and we think they're cute and we're giving them privilege. There are actual reasons why we do it.
We are mainly talking about the elevator right here. This is something we like to talk about because a lot of people are very taken aback by this. But no, we haven't even asked, who here is their actual first FurCon? Raise your hand.
Yes.
Whoa. Holy crap!
Okay. Did not
One
see
really
that
quick ground rule, we realize we've been doing this so long that some terms in the furry fandom are commonplace to us. If we say something you have no idea what that means,
let us
raise your
know.
hand, we'll explain it.
Let us know, we'll explain it.
We had somebody who didn't know what furry was.
A lot of this handlers. What is that?
We're about to cover handlers.
Yes. And so I actually asked a few fursuiters to join us. They are in the back of the room. Brixie, could you come on up here, please?
As they're doing that, guys, you're going to see this weekend. If you ever see a fursuit, mainly fursuiters, getting pushed to the front of the line, namely an elevator line, the reason for that is we put a thermometer inside these fursuits. Okay. Does anyone know the temperature that it can get to inside of these walking carpets? What do you think?
Yeah.
110?
You're very close. It's not 110, it's higher than 110. Anyone else got one more guess? 120 is closer.
135.
125 is the closest so far. We measured it at 127 at Anthrocon this year, and it wasn't even one of the big floofy suits. That was just a standard fursuit. That is why. And
that's the temperature. That's the temperature inside the head.
Yeah.
And realize that for people from a medical perspective, you radiate 80 to 90% of your body heat through the top of your head, the palms of your hands, and the soles of your feet. All three of these things are enclosed. Therefore, this person's body temperature, if they do not have a fan inside the head or are wearing something like a cooling vest underneath, their body temperature can actually start increasing and go up to 100 degrees fever temperature within a matter of minutes.
They're microwaving themselves.
Yes. So
for art! It's fun.
So, but these characters sometimes, like you can see, our German Shepherd here has a little fan and is holding it up to his mouth that is helping to move airflow through the head. That is something a lot of fursuiters do. Fritzy is just kind of like doing it old school. Nothing. Oh, you got a fan in the head. You're cheating. Yeah, you're cheating. But yeah, there are some fursuits are built with fans in the heads. These are more mascot-y type suits. There are some realistic suits. There are some suits that are realistic. Does anybody know what the average cost of these might be?
You went over there this time.
Yep, we're going to go. Yes, you, sir.
Around $9,000.
Around $9,000. You are not terribly far off for some makers.
Yeah.
The average cost for a commissioned fursuit now, in 2019, is $3,900 base.
Now here's my favorite. Who knows right now the suit that's holding the record?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Okay,
That's the point of asking the question.
Oh, I know KP will. I believe, wasn't it somewhere in the range of 15 to 16 grand?
It's higher.
Yeah,
it did go up again?
There was
It did go up again?
There was a time when the most expensive fursuit in the fandom was $12,000.
Oh, I'm thinking cryo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a fursuit that took 2 years to build in Europe. It's in Germany. $23,000. It is animatronic. Its eyes and ears move. It can snarl. It has an animatronic tail. It is one of the most technically advanced non-film costumes on the planet.
So who here owns a car that costs less than that fursuit? Okay. Remember that this weekend when you have Cheeto dust on your hands and want to hug one of them.
So Fritzy here actually has a white tummy. And lots of cute things. And I'm sorry, I keep forgetting Fursuit, the character name. I want to make sure. Alex. Okay, this is still Alex. I want
Some
to
of us have multiple.
Yeah, some of us have
Yeah.
multiple characters. Alex is wearing a T-shirt over a bodysuit, but Fritzy is wearing a bodysuit that has white fur as a stomach on the tummy. If you have been eating Cheetos or Doritos or something that leaves residue on your hands and you come up and hug them, they are going to have a stain for the rest of the weekend, unless they decide to go have this laundered. How many people think it's cute to pull a fursuiter's tail? I'm really glad nobody raised their hand.
Thank you. Everyone.
Some fursuiters have tails that are on belts, and they actually poke through a hole in the back of the suit so that the tail can be washed separately from the bodysuit. They can be cleaned separately. However, there are fursuits where the tails are attached, and they have polyfill in them, or they have armatures in them, and they cannot be removed. They are laundered at the same time. When you pull on a tail like that, you run the risk of causing a rip. How many people think it would be really cool to have a $3,800 costume that you just got and have somebody pull on it and rip it so that you can't use it for the rest of the weekend?
It's like the best audience.
Yeah, nobody raised their hands.
Problems with these questions all the time.
The sad truth of the matter is this happens more than once at cons, especially cons that are large like Anthrocon and Midwest Fur Fest. There are people that get inebriated, they're not in the right frame of mind, or they are just super exuberant, or they're just dumb and they think it's going to be cute to pull a fursuiter's tail, and they yank really, really hard, and if they don't hurt the fursuiter, because we're going to go over that in a minute, they actually damage the costume. And if it's brand new, Frisky's, in fact, is very new. He just got it in October, so it's brand new. First con for this suit. This is a brand new suit. Yes, as a premiere. If somebody were to damage this suit that Frisky has been trying to get for a year plus, I don't think he would be very happy. So again, you want to be very cautious of fursuiters. Now,
One of the reasons we brought them up is we wanted to show you guys some do's and don'ts.
So the first thing, before we show them a do and a don't, let's talk about their visual acuity.
Yes, that's one.
Yes. So Frisky, if you would, yeah, actually,
You're in front of
you would come over here.
You stand right here, look out to the audience.
What we are going to do is we are going to stand behind or in front, either way. Behind.
I got long arms,
Okay.
I can do this.
Yes. We're going to stand behind them and we're going to put our fingers out. And what I'm going to ask the fursuiters to do, please raise your left and right paw when you can physically see our fingers in your field of vision. And this may shock a few people. Okay, we're going to start.
These are perfect fursuits for this. Okay.
Yeah.
Go. Okay. What do you? Oh Jesus! You got a great one.
Oh, wow, that's
Please keep your. So now you see right and left. I'm going to do this one because I'm tall enough to.
Top and bottom. Actually, I'll do the bottom on the German Shepherd. Frisky, keep those up just for a second because I want to illustrate a point. He's going to come from the top. I'm going to come from the bottom. I want you to see where they can see. Go ahead and go. You can see the top.
Wow.
Okay,
That's great.
that's good.
All right.
Now-
We have a window now.
Now you have a window.
Let's hold on. I want to see this one.
Okay, we're going to do the same thing on
Listen,
Frisky.
These are my favorite fursuits. They're just murder boxes.
Okay, again, your left paw for me and your right paw for Alkali.
Yes.
So right paw top, left paw bottom. Go.
wow.
Yay! Really quick. Did you see the bottom hand there for both of them? Right about here.
Right about the nose.
About here.
Now,
What's down here?
Kids.
Children.
actually, what else is down here?
Toilets.
Trash cans,
And so yeah.
chairs, tables, people that are leaving suitcases in the middle of the thing to go hug somebody that they just saw. Fursuiters have far more restricted range of vision than you might imagine. So not only are they dealing with heat and perspiration coming into their eyes, they have a very small window that they can see out of. So for them to see something down on the floor, they literally have to do this. That's the only way they can see. Can you imagine them walking around doing that? Now, for Alkali, who's really, really tall, it's really easy to see his face. But if Alkali is holding a drink right down here and approaching a fursuiter, and that drink just happens to be a Bloody Mary, What's going to happen if someone comes up to Frisky with a Bloody Mary and Frisky doesn't see it? He's going to look like somebody shot him. And that's not going to be very fun. No. So
See, but they can make it fun. And
They
that's
can-
why Furry's amazing.
yes, but then they'll go to their room, see the stain, and cry, and that's no fun. So one of the things, like I said, we do this so that people understand when we have rules in place because fursuiters can't see when they're in costume. They can't see as well. These mesh eyes, these eyes do have mesh. You're looking through something that could be like either nylon, like pantyhose type material would be made of, or it could be multi-celled foam, depending on who made it. So not only do they not be able to, can they not see, but in this tiny window, not only do they have perspiration dripping into their eyes, but imagine putting on 3 pairs of sunglasses and trying to look through those, and doing all of that at the same time. Fursuiters can get injured very easily, and it has happened, and it's very sad. People have picked them up and injured them.
Let's just put a ground rule right now. If you do not know the person intimately, please don't pick anyone up.
Yeah.
Ever, at all. Somebody did that to me. I have a very bad back, and
It hurts.
It ended the con for me.
Yeah.
Uncle Kage has been injured at a convention by somebody hugging too hard.
Yes.
Guys,
Be very,
please,
be very.
let us live.
The other thing is, when you have a costume on like this, one of the beautiful things about the fandom is all of the physical traits, all of the things that create prejudices disappear because now you are a dog, you are a cat or a bird. The problem is, well, the problem with this is you don't know if the person inside is really male or female. You actually may not be able to tell just how high they are or where parts of their body are. And if you start trying to give someone a tummy rub and that suit is built a certain way, you're not rubbing a stomach. This happens. This causes complaints and people get in trouble for it. So please,
Fursuit's blush.
yeah. So you never want to touch people in a way that might actually create a situation when you didn't think it was going to. It might have been totally innocent, but you might create a problem. A fursuit is not consent. When you are in fursuit, when a person is in fursuit, ask permission to hug. It is not that hard. It takes 2 seconds. Hey, can I get a hug? Look at that. That was easy. Now, what happens if somebody goes to this suit and there is no visual acuity and they come running up from them to the side to jump on them and give them a surprise hug?
That is called a glomp in the anime fandom. I was a witness for a glomp at First Squared. A fursuiter was standing near an interior window. A furry saw them from across the room. They recognized the suit from the internet, that horrible place. Ran out of the ballroom across the hallway, yelled, "Glomp!" And that's when I turned around and watched him hit the window treatments and tear down all the blinds in the hotel that I had just paid $22,000 for. Wasn't a great day. Don't do that.
But also, fursuiters have sustained injuries of dislocated knees, sprained backs,
Yes.
fractured arms, fractured ribs. A lot of people think everything within the fandom is a joke. And the truth of the matter is, when a person puts on a fursuit, they actually become a target for injury. You have to be very careful around them. And so that's why we have a lot of the rules that we do. The elevator rule is specifically when a fursuiter starts feeling a medical situation happening, they may go to the front of the line, but they don't want to take the head off because they don't want to let people know who they are. They might be trying to keep the character integrity intact. It could be that the person inside that suit really doesn't want you to know who they are for a reason. How many of you are aware that we have actually had members of Congress arrive in fursuit? How many of you are aware that we have had celebrities from Hollywood show up and stay completely anonymous for the entire weekend? Like people like Margaret Cho.
How many of you would do that for a weekend and just create a persona that you will never tell anybody that that's you?
There are people who come to furry conventions because of the anonymity of a fursuit. They get to actually be a person. They are no longer a celebrity. They are just one in the crowd. So there are reasons why they may run to the front of an elevator line and not take their head off. We respect that. So if if a fursuiter goes up and wants to be at the head of the line, they are pushed to the head of the line. And if they whisper, to the person at the elevator, I'm overheating. They're gonna actually get a security person, escort them to their room. Fursuiters do have cues, though. They have physical signals that they give to people. What is the signal? Oh, I see, Alex. This is the signal for I'm getting hot. I'm overheating. Yep, they fan themselves. What is the signal for could you take a picture? Or may I take a picture? They act like they have a camera. What is the signal for I've got to go? Like I need to go. All right, Frisky, if you were like, oh, I've got to be somewhere, I can't stay here, how would you signal it?
I think, okay, hold on. I think I see what you're asking. Here's one. If somebody was going in for a hug and for one reason or another you did not want it, how would you wave it off? That's what he's trying to do. I want to make sure everyone understands this right now. If you ever go to hug a fursuiter and they wave you off, I can almost guarantee you it has nothing to do with you. 130 degrees, large sweaty mammal inside of a carpet, they might just not want you to hug a sponge. Don't ever take offense to being waved off by a fursuit. It is not personal. They might just really want a glass of water. And
Or
in the furry fandom, we say water first.
yes. Also, there are some people who are aversive to touching. They do not want to be touched. It could be an OCD thing. They could have had some kind of a traumatic experience. They just don't, they want their personal space. Respect that, just the same way you would want your personal space respected. If a total stranger walked up to you and started saying, oh my God, can I give you a hug?
Wednesday.
Yeah. You may not want that. So again, we're going to respect that with suitors.
Another one, this one is...
I was going to say cameras.
Oh, well, we're still in the medical thing.
Yes.
This one is very important, and this one is a legal issue, so for just a moment. It is very common to see a fursuiter sitting in a chair in a hallway, just not moving. They might have the fan in their mouth or something, but they're probably just resting. It is 100% okay to approach that gentleman and say, are you okay? You are looking for one answer and one answer only, and that answer should be yes.
Yes. Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Anything that is a solid affirmative is fine. The reason being is, in the case of heat stroke, one of the first things to be affected is your ability to speak. If they give you gobbledygook, if anything comes out other than an affirmative, get a security officer or get somebody else to get a security officer. Do not remove the fursuit head or do anything but stay by their side and keep them talking. The security here is a trained group of people who know exactly what to do in these circumstances, including specific training in that incident, in heat stroke care. There is a lot that can go wrong if you remove a fursuit head, and also that becomes a liability. Not necessarily for you, just a general liability. It is a bad idea. Send somebody, get security. If no one is around whatsoever, find the nearest person, have them get security, and return to the fursuiter and just keep talking.
Yep,
Security will be there quickly.
I'm just going to let them sit down because they are getting a little
I'm
warm.
so sorry.
That's okay. So you guys, thanks everybody. Big round of applause for some of our fursuiters. Thank you, Alex. I'll come and hang out with you guys later. I'll hang out with you guys later. Yay. Now, there's one other thing about fursuits. How many people actually have a fursuit in the room? Okay. How many people plan to, at some point during the convention, imbibe in a libation? Meaning you're going to have a drink and have a fursuit.
Oh, and
Okay, yeah, not the same.
Here is the thing. There are some people who overdo it at cons. They get really exuberant and they don't know their limits. And I'm not standing next to one who fits that description.
I know my limit. I just ignore it.
But the thing is, there are some people that will get into fursuit and they will drink. And they will drink too much. And we have had people pass out, like actual pass out, from alcohol in fursuit. Here's the problem. We are going to call, the security is going to call an ambulance for that. They are not qualified to take the head off and try to revive you. If someone passes out, they are going to call 911. And they are going to put the liability on the medical team for the county or whoever's sending the ambulance. Here is the trick. When you are in anything that needs to be removed to get to your chest, to your leg, or anything based on your situation, all ambulances and ambulance drivers are equipped with a special pair of shears that will go right through cloth but not cut skin. And they do not hesitate to use those.
Actually, no, they cannot. You
Yeah.
could regain consciousness, and if they find it necessary, they will still cut that off.
They will cut that suit off.
You will not have a choice.
Yeah. There are instances of people who, very first con, they were having fun in their fursuit. Very first time having a $3,000 fursuit plus. Had too much to drink, passed out in a hotel lobby. The flashy, bright, shiny, wavy rave-mobile showed up. They not only had to pay a $1,500 taxi ride in the shiny, flashy rave-mobile, but they had their brand new $3,000 fursuit cut off of their body, and there is no recourse. It is just done.
Just because I always like to end on a high note, he did have one recourse. He has a second suit now, which is gorgeous.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The first suit, he turned into a Frankenstein suit with a giant stitch where he got cut, which is actually pretty cool.
But yeah, the county or the medical officers, before we get to the question, they are required to remove anything that might impair their ability to resuscitate you or to treat you. They could destroy the head when they try to remove it because they may not want to pull on it and pull on your neck. So they may actually hack it off. They might hack off the bodysuit. You never know what they're going to do. Please, if you're going to imbibe, be reasonable. Just realize that if the ambulance gets called, you are going to pay a $1,500 ambulance ride, minus insurance, whatever insurance you have. But you can pay up to $1,500 for that ambulance ride, and you may lose the suit that you're in to a pair of shears.
The line that he used a second ago was know your limits. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Who had the question?
Oh,
Sir?
right here.
What's that?
You get these suits insured for a chance, you know?
You can get a suit insured. You absolutely can, and some people do. However, if you do something stupid, the insurance company may not accept the claim.
That's true.
Because if it's a medical situation and you cause the medical situation, they may not accept the liability. They may put that on you.
You'd be shocked what you can do in this world. We found a way to write off a suit as a tax deduction, so that was a fun day.
Anyway, so
You have to
those
own a
are
convention to make it work.
those
but
are
it
things.
works.
Those are things related to fursuits. But fursuiters are not the only things at conventions.
That is true.
There are lots of other things. Does everybody here know what the 621 rule is? Who does not know what the 621 rule is? You've never heard of it before.
Here we go.
Okay.
KB, what is the 6?
The 6, first, this was created by Dr. Passavoy from the, yes, it's from the sci-fi fandom, and it's basic rules for things you have to do when you're at a convention for a weekend. The 6 stands for 6 hours of sleep per day. What does the 2?
Who just laughed?
Yeah, hold on. What does the 2 stand for, Alkali?
That would be 2 full meals, real meals. Pop-Tarts aren't a meal.
Pixie Sticks and Mountain Dew are not a meal.
No, they're just fun.
Yeah, but they're not a meal. And the 1, which is my personal favorite.
The 1 is for us. The 1 isn't for you.
Yeah, 1 is 1 shower with soap minimum per day. If you are a fursuiter, 1 shower per fursuit wearing, plus your daily shower.
Okay, I appreciate now. I understand you're holding up 3 showers a day because you're fursuiters. I
Yes.
thought you had a question about showering.
So here are the reasons for those numbers. And there is actually a medical reason for each of the numbers. For the 6, when you do not get enough sleep, your body's immune system is compromised. You are at a convention that has people from 6 different continents, and they have all brought germs. Lots and lots of them. And they are all milling around, and they are breathing, and they are circulating through the air conditioning system of this hotel and this convention center. And you have never been exposed to these germs before, so your immune system needs to be strong. When you don't sleep, your immune system starts going down, and you can get sick. There is a condition specific to conventions when you have lots of people from lots of different environments getting all kinds of viruses getting together and doing the electric boogaloo and creating a brand new germ that you've never seen before. We call that con crud. Con crud is not fun.
No.
It can resemble the flu. It can take the form of a sore throat that you swear somebody pushed a cheese grater down your throat. Your temperature could rise to 103 degrees, because mine has, as of this condition, because I was actually fighting a respiratory infection as well as a bacterial infection when I caught that.
There are extreme cases.
There are extreme cases. People have gone into the hospital with dehydration. Things can happen when you compromise your immune system. So if you get 6 hours of sleep, your immune system stays strong. Why do we eat 2 good, healthful meals per day, which is not Pop-Tarts and Mountain Dew?
Because I'm fat.
No. The reason why we have to have 2 good meals is your body requires a certain amount of energetic input to function properly. At conventions, we tend to overdo it. We get a little bit exuberant, we get really excited, we go to the dances, we expend more energy than we're normally used to. It happens every single year at every major convention that we go to. There is at least one person who will walk in on Sunday afternoon to convention operations or to medical saying, I don't feel well, I feel lightheaded, I think I'm going to pass out.
When's the last time you ate?
Thursday before the con started, I just forgot. There are people who forget to eat.
Oh, I'm one of them. Absolutely.
Yeah, there are people who do actually
There's
forget
a
to
lot
eat.
of stimulation here. It's understandable.
And when you do that and you go 2 solid days without eating and you're just catching up on a little soda every so often because you're thirsty, you get dehydrated and or your body starts shutting down because it can't continue operating. It goes hand in hand with the sleep, but you've got to have enough physical food input to stay healthy and to stay energized. Why the 1 shower minimum?
Why not?
So it should be obvious. However, for those that don't understand, the human olfactory system, also called your sense of smell, is the worst in the animal kingdom. There is no animal on Earth that has a sense of smell worse than human beings. If you don't believe that, when was the last time you actually went into a restaurant and it smelled really good? You said, ooh, they're baking cookies. Oh, I smell cinnamon or something. And 5 minutes later, you couldn't smell it. You didn't know it was there anymore. You get used to it. Our sense of smell gets desensitized by everything that we expose it to, including body odor.
Including your own body odor.
You cannot smell yourself. However, if other people have not been exposed to you, they very well can. And they will. And what will happen in the elevator is you will be standing there and you might think it's really cool, but everybody's giving you about 2 feet of space because they don't want to crush you. No, they actually want you to go into another zip code. There are people who will wear the same shirt and they think Febreze is a really good idea, and that just doesn't work. If you are a fursuiter and you wear the same suit for 12 hours a day and you're perspiring, there are lots of little bacteria that get into there and they thrive on that, and that's what creates body odor. And we just call it funk. There was a technical term for this condition. It was called famunda. Famunda. It's the odor that comes from under your arms. I am so old. That's so 1980s. I'm old. I'm sorry. But yes, there are odors that you get used to that other people don't, and it is offensive. So you want to bathe and use soap to remove those oils and scents from your body. Wear fresh clothing. If you don't have fresh clothing, and you can afford it, you can always buy a t-shirt. The con sells a really great con shirt, plug. Or you can go to the dealer's room. You can spend money in the dealer's room, plug for the dealers. Or you could actually get a little bit of detergent and you could wash a couple of items in your room and leave a really nasty ring in the bathtub. Plug for detergent. But yes, we want you to try to be healthful and clean, and that's what 621 is really all about. It's not offending other people and keeping your body in the best shape possible so when you go home, you've got great memories, not on an airplane going, I'm dying, which I felt like earlier this year.
There's nothing worse than the airplane ride home from a convention that you got conquered at. That is just
when the airplane decompresses and your sinuses are all plugged and your ears are plugged, it is painful. So don't do it. All right.
You're on to the convention itself.
The convention itself, well, actually, Lost and Found is something I want to get to before we do that. So, how many people here think that things are going to get lost?
Everyone raise your hand.
Everyone raise your hand. I personally actually left my bag after a meeting in a room, and I've left it in the restaurant. I've already left it twice. It happens. We get busy, and we're being pulled in a lot of different directions, and things are going to get separated. If you have a cell phone, I'm going to give you a piece of advice that we came up with a couple of years ago, and it works brilliantly. Change your lock screen. Put a picture of your character or your name or something easily identifiable on the lock screen. Because what's going to happen is if somebody leaves their cell phone and it gets separated and it goes to Lost and Found, they're going to have 15 different phones of the same model, or, I don't know, it's got a black case. It's a Samsung. No, it's an iPhone. Okay, they've got a whole selection of them. I don't know what model it is. I bought it a year ago. But if they can turn it on, then you can say, it's got a picture of a white wolf with blue hair and it's holding a pie.
By the way, those pictures should be clean. I had to get a photo
Yeah.
for somebody once that said 2 naked birds. They just stared at me like, I know that phone.
But yes, a really good idea is put something identifiable on the lock screen. So if your phone gets separated, you can change it back right after the con. You don't have to keep it. A picture of your badge works that has your badge number on it. That way, the convention who has your contact information in case of emergency can get a hold of you because they can go to the hotel and say, is this person registered here? We have their phone. We'd like to get it back to them. The hotel can facilitate that.
And just because sometimes it's different kind to con, but you probably know, where is Lost and Found here?
Here, Lost and Found is actually in convention operations. It's in what we call the fishbowl. It's that room that has like the glass dome over it right off the hotel lobby. Yep, it's right over there. And it's really easy to find. Just come off the elevators, come into the fishbowl, it's on the right.
Which is, by the way, right next to volunteering.
And security.
And security. Security, if you need anything, don't ever forget this. We have to use the term security because that's very clear as to what they are here for. But don't forget, that's actually not. They are here to be the go-between before you do something stupid and the cops show up. They're the middleman for that to stop the cops from showing up. Guys, the security is here to keep everyone having a good time. They are not against you. They are not here to make your life miserable. They are here to keep the con running. They are wonderful people, and if you ever need anything, if you ever feel in any way, shape, or form that you are being threatened or just need to get away from someone, security is right over there. They will help you. They are wonderful people. I've been working with them for years, and they make this con better.
Pigtailing on that with security. If you see somebody doing something that makes you uncomfortable, specifically someone starts filming you, they put a phone in your face to film you and they're asking weird questions and you don't know why, and they are not having a staff lanyard. That's something important. Staff lanyards are bright orange. If you see this lanyard is a symbol that we work for the con and we are on duty. So anytime you see this orange lanyard, you can approach someone as a staff member. Some staff members will take it off the lanyard if they're going to go to a meal or go into the bar and they don't want to actually be responsible for an answer that like maybe they don't know or they might not be in a position to answer. If they don't have the orange lanyard on, they're not on duty. This is an on-duty staff position when you see this. But if someone comes up to you and is doing something that makes you uncomfortable, you are always welcome to contact security and they will come and investigate what's going on. We don't tolerate harassment. We don't tolerate anybody doing things or putting people in positions where they feel uncomfortable. This is an environment where we want everyone to feel welcome and feel like you're part of things. And we don't want anybody coming in here and creating situations where you're going, I don't want to go back to that place. I don't feel good. Yes. Oh, great question. What's the policy for taking photos?
Permission.
Ask.
Remember when we showed you the Fursuits do this? As long as you are asking permission, that is 100% okay. In general, people understand if they're walking around, they might be in the background of pictures. That is just an assumed thing. You don't really need to worry about that. However, if somebody waves off a picture, that's it.
Yeah,
they just don't want a picture.
Yeah, and just treat it like, oh, it's like my face. If I don't want my face having a photo taken, it might just be that I don't feel I look my best, or it might be that I might have a real reason. There might be someone stalking me and I don't want them to take pictures of me to know where I am.
They might be vampires.
You never know.
That was awkward.
Super awkward.
Oh.
Yep, zombie apocalypses may happen.
Yeah, these things happen.
Also with Lost and Found in sketchbooks and things like that.
Lost and Found. By the way, that also goes two ways. If you find something, please
take it to
bring
Lost
it
and
to
Found.
Operations as soon as you can. And just this is a weird one that people sometimes forget. If it's Sunday and you're still around and the con is wound down, if Operations is closed, please take it to the front desk of the hotel. Operations is open all weekend, but at some point they do need to shut down front desk of the hotel, and also the convention will leave certain things with the hotel, driver's licenses, namely. That is something that
Anything that's identification or something that has a financial impact, like credit cards.
correct. Yeah, that all
Things like
goes
that.
to the hotel afterwards. However, once again,
And they put it
operations.
in the hotel safe.
Correct.
It is not just laying in a drawer somewhere.
Yes.
So the reason why I brought up sketchbooks, that used to be a big thing back in the day. It wavered a little bit. It is a big thing again.
Yeah.
It is a thing again. But for a while, people were like, I only want to do digital. Can anybody describe a sketchbook to me? What does it look like?
Right.
You have one. Hold it up.
Okay, big.
Yep.
We have a few.
Yeah, we have a few. Hold up your sketchbook. They still exist.
Oh, little pockets.
A little pocket sketchbook, that's cute. What inevitably happens when a sketchbook gets separated, the first thing if a person walks into Lost and Found they're going to do is please describe the book. It's black. You just described 95% of all sketchbooks.
The second
It has-
thing they'll say is, there's naked birds in it.
No, actually they tend to say, well, it's got drawings from my friends in it. Can you describe the drawings? One of them, I was standing there going like this.
What page is that on? About 40.
I have in that bag a sketchbook I'm going to be delivering to an artist relatively soon. I have been working on that book since 2001. I have it with me. I can show it to you if you want. It's got 20 years worth of drawings in it. It is very valuable to me for a variety of reasons. Alkali knows the story behind this book. One person that drew in it actually had a stroke and cannot complete the drawing, but he was a very good friend. I would not want this book separated from me, and I would not want an ability to not get it back. In the event something happens and it is separated from me, it has items in it plus contact information. I highly recommend if you have a book, something of value, a sketchbook, or any other item that you feel comfortable writing your contact information in, please do so. The convention will make every opportunity and effort to return your property to you if you give them the resource to do it. At certain conventions that have been around for 20 years, there are multiple of them, there are boxes that contain just sketchbooks that have been left for 10 years plus. And I can tell you almost every single one of them has a black cover, has no name in it, and has pictures in it. Some of them do make people blush, and those would be easy to identify, but a lot of them are just random people's drawings.
What makes those easy to identify?
Well, when you have a sketchbook that has like 5 pages folding out, and it's like, I didn't think that it would. Oh, I didn't know they got that big. I'm talking about the tails and the horns on the bull's head. What are you thinking about? When that red robin keeps bobbing along.
Oh my
All
God.
right. So, I'm sorry, guys. But please, put some identification in the property that you value. Give the convention a way to identify it, because what you may think is unique actually is not that unique. In fact, I have one of those with me.
This is what a standard description of a sketchbook looks like.
It's black.
It's,
It only has a few drawings in it. Got a drawing of me needing coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, you just described half the sketchbooks in the fandom. There's no easy way to identify this if it doesn't have a name in it. If you do have an unusual sketchbook, which I highly advise, get something very personal, it might look something like that. And this would be a little easier to identify. In fact, this is well known through a number of artists because they draw in it on a regular basis. But however, I do not let this book leave my side if I can possibly help it. I don't let it leave my house unless I'm going to a convention. And I've taken photographs of every single piece of art in here multiple times over so I never lose them. If those things are valuable to you, we want you to get them back if they're lost. So that's all of that. Now, I'll show you the pictures later if you want. That's not the focus of this talk.
and we have one more just because we're already talking about the fishbowl. We talk about operation security, volunteering. Now, to start off this panel, myself and him told you that we run furry conventions. KP, before you stepped foot onto a board of directors,
Yeah.
how long did you volunteer for?
I volunteered at Okay, so with it's kind of a complex story, but with 2 conventions, with Anthrocon, I volunteered for 4 to 5 years before I actually became a member of the board of directors. Because I was a founder of Megaplex, I didn't have an opportunity to really volunteer for it. I just kind of got drafted into being the programming director, and it just happened. But normally, the people that become staff start out as volunteers. Volunteering at a convention could be something as simple as, I need someone for 1 hour to watch a table, to watch a room. I need someone to... Yeah, I need someone to just make sure that everybody that walks through that door has a badge. You would be surprised how valuable that simple act is to a convention, because a lot of other staffers are dealing with very customized problems, and they're having to come up with unusual solutions for things they didn't think about before. Whereas someone watching a door is something that's very easy. Just, oh, badge. Can you turn your badge around? Yes, good, you're good to go. Go on, yes, good. Thank you for holding that up, yes. That is a valuable service, and it is something that every convention, including Midwest Fur Fest, needs.
And that is something that all of us talk to each other about. Because don't forget, we need the next generation to be ready to take over these conventions.
Because we're getting old.
I'm almost 40. He's been alive since the Beatles. Not the band, the bug.
I actually tell people, if you want to know how old I am, it goes from God to dirt to me to the tree in my backyard. Where's Alkali on that?
Tree in his backyard.
Yeah, tree in the backyard. But God, me, dirt. Actually, that's probably the easiest way. God, me, dirt, and everything else. I'm getting older, and I can't do this as easily as I used to. I don't move around. I'm getting tired. I have to actually go to bed before midnight. Crazy thing. Alkali kept me up past 1. I almost passed out.
Not bad.
But yeah.
That's something that we all talk about. We actually have a small organization that gets together once a year to talk about what worked this year, what didn't work this year. And when that happens, some conventions say, hey, who are your volunteers that are really going above and beyond? We're looking for some new staff members. And on the other side, volunteering at a convention, they are definitely going to see your hard work. And if you're looking to move up, if you're looking to become one of the organizers for these things, volunteering is not only the best way to do it, but volunteering is the quickest way to do it. Because I'll tell you this right now. Would you like to see a person that I probably do not want on staff? Hi! I want to be on staff now!
Do you?
Maybe. And that is how, I think that's happening twice this weekend. Walking up to one of us and saying you want to be on staff isn't going to get you anywhere.
But if you volunteer, the conventions actually have a way of like gauging what you're good at and helping to match you to something that you might actually enjoy doing. Because a lot of us do enjoy working staff. We actually really get a lot out of it. And I'm not talking about a monetary way. We cultivate friendships, and we really feel good about being able to provide something that makes all of you happy. And that's our ultimate goal, is to make you happy. Speaking of making you happy, programming. Programming and events. There is online, if you have a smartphone, a schedule. It's furfest2019.sked.com. When you registered, you actually got a copy of that link. That has the most up-to-date schedule. So if things get moved from one room to another, they're going to update it there. They can't physically reprint the programming guides and signs and things and get them in here.
It's a terrible strain on the illustrator's wrist.
Exactly. You might see something scribbled on something every once in a while, but they tend to avoid that. So you want to know where panels are. Panels are a great way, if you've never been to a furry convention before, to kind of get your feet wet. Because how many of you actually know tons of people here? I see a couple of hands. How many of you don't really know anybody here? Okay, I'm going to confess something. I've been going to furry conventions for 20 years. I don't know most of the people here either. That just happens. The fandom has grown. There's a lot of people that I don't know that are here. Panels are a great way to meet people of similar interests. Yes. They are a great way to start building a social network and a social build. You will be surprised at how many friends you can make by just going to a panel that you have a common interest on, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, you just found somebody you're going to be talking to for the next 10 years, probably go on trips with, and build a friendship that you will remember for the rest of your life. It happens. Yes?
Or you might find your husband.
You might find your spouse at a panel. You very well might. Lots of things can happen. You can meet all kinds of interesting people.
One of the things we like to say, and this has been true since the day I joined the fandom, you will get out of this weekend what you put into it. I have friends who are here right now that have every intention of using this as an opportunity to see friends they already know. They're going to hang out in a hotel room, and they're going to play their Wii. They're going to play Mario Kart. And that's fine. They get a lot of enjoyment out of that. But they're not getting a lot out of the convention. However, myself and him are going to be going to panels throughout the weekend. We're both running panels throughout the weekend. We're going to go to social events. We're going to enjoy the convention and the people at the convention. And with that effort, with what we put into this convention, we are going to get memories that will last us a lifetime out of this. Go to panels, enjoy yourself, and remember, just try new things here. That's what this is about. Go to the panel that you kind of have an interest in. You'll be shocked the amount of knowledge that this fandom has.
And actually, just as a side note, Alkali can verify this because he saw it in the hallway just a few minutes ago before this panel started. There's a very good friend of mine from California, Brocken, who is now on staff here. I have not seen Brocken in years. And he just came up to me while I was actually working, and he tapped me on the back, and he said, KP, hi, it's Brocken. And I was like, I almost burst into tears. And I gave him a big hug, and we just sat and talked for 5 minutes just to catch up. We traded our new contact information so we could get back in touch with each other. But Brocken and I met back in 1999 and 2000 in California. And to this day, we are still friends. You will meet a lot of people this weekend, and you may actually meet people that you will know for the next 20 to 30 years. It's possible.
That's the beauty of the furry fandom. I have friends at Megaplex on both coasts that I see once a year, and we all would definitely call each other friends. And that's something very special in this fandom, especially to me. That's wonderful. I think we can go to questions. 5.
Yes. So does anybody have a question? Yeah.
Handlers, what are they?
Right. Oh,
We jumped over it.
We jumped right over it. A handler is a person that a fursuiter is going to get because, once again, field of view, elevators where they're at, and honestly, moving through a crowd. A handler is a friend of the fursuiter that is just there to help them to get from point A to point B. And the main thing that a handler is, and that's why any fursuiter only has one, when that fursuiter is going upstairs, yes, their handler also goes with them onto the elevator because they are probably going up to the room to help them get out of the giant carpet that they are wearing.
They're also known as escorts.
Yes.
Sometimes they're called escorts, but we prefer handler because escort might have a different connotation, and we don't want that.
Yeah, because we're so worried about that.
I know. Any other questions?
Birds!
So something you've seen already that you just don't understand or you're curious about? Within reason, please.
Since I don't see a hand yet, really quick, props. Don't take people's props.
Yes.
This is not the first top hat. It was funny the first time. It's not funny later. My dear, how would you feel if somebody borrowed your fursuit head right now? Exactly. Props are people that, this right now is my persona. This coat, this hat, this is what I choose to present myself as. KP is dressed as KP right now. We are performing as these characters. Don't take their props.
I actually dress this way all the time anyway, but
Yeah, you do.
think props are property. Props are property. Don't take someone else's property without permission. Yes.
Can you enlighten some new people to the concept of the Fursuit headless lounge?
The headless lounge or the headless zone.
Headless Lounge is nice and simple. That is a cooling area for fursuits. If you're not in a fursuit, you need to know two things about the Headless Lounge. One, where it is. There's multiple Headless Lounges.
There's two.
There is two. That is a place for a fursuiter to go. It's a closed-off room where they can take off their head. No one will see them. But more importantly, there is never any photography in that room for reasons that we already talked about, breaking the magic. People don't want to be photographed outside of their fursuit.
They might actually be in a state of undress, and you don't want to get someone who's like taking part of the fursuit bodysuit down to cool off because they might be overheating, and all of a sudden a part of their chest might be exposed, like they might be having an undershirt and they're not comfortable with their body being photographed. It's just a matter of respect. Don't do that.
And that's, once again, goes back to the handlers. There are two people allowed in that room. That is fursuits and handlers.
Yeah, those are not social zones, by the way. Those are places for people to cool off. Please do not think, I'm going to follow a fursuiter and I'm going to go talk to them. That's not the place and time for that.
They're also quite loud because there's like 20 fans in there.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question? All right.
So I have one last thing we're going to demonstrate, and this is behavior around celebrities.
Oh, we have to do this?
We're going to do this.
I was actually going to bring that up.
So there is an incident that happened a number of years ago to Uncle Kage, and we're going to recreate it. Alkali is going to be Uncle Kage, and I am going to be a person who was a very exuberant fan who showed it in a very unusual way.
Yes, throwing another body into the Allegheny, yes. I sense a disturbance in the force. Yes.
Bend down a little bit.
No.
Bend down a little bit. You gotta do it.
No.
I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but
No. God damn.
there is a person who literally came back from Uncle Kage, started massaging his chest without permission, and licked his neck, thinking it was an appropriate thing because it was a furry convention. That is not appropriate behavior for anyone on this planet.
Now, you guys all laughed, hopefully, but hopefully some of you found that uncomfortable even to watch. Imagine how Kage felt. This is a very good friend of mine. Kage did not know this person. And also, I have been torturing him for years by coming up behind him and just doing this. You smell like Ovaltine. That's just a reference to that day because it was quite bad.
It's uncomfortable.
It was
And-
incredible, yeah. You know,
And,
poor
and
guy.
it's like, can you imagine, how would your entire weekend feel after something like that happened on a Friday?
I want to go home.
Would you actually want to even be in that building ever again?
Yeah,
I go
no,
home.
that's, and like, it's Sam. Sam took it in stride because he is a trooper, but it's not okay. It's very
There are many things about furry conventions that are different, and like I said, if you have any personal questions that you want to come up and ask us, we're more than happy to answer them. We're
I
hoping
think we're about to go out into the hallway though, because I don't
Yes.
know what's in here.
Yes, but we're hoping this gave you a little bit of an insight into how furry cons work, why we do it, and why some of the little traditions we have exist.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is KP. This is Alcohol. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the convention.
I am not leaving my
Right? I was just like,
Yeah.
you forget the book after all that.
I am not going to forget that.
Silver Gato-man, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gato-man, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gato-man, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.